Olive Garden's a pretty popular restaurant. I imagine most of you watching this are familiar with it. But have you ever been sitting down enjoying a mediocre meal at Olive Garden and you think to yourself, geez, you know what would really brighten up these flavors and bring out the umami of my soup? A severed rat's foot. My guess would be probably not. I can't imagine that's a thought that's popped into many people's mind while eating at Olive Garden. But it did at least for one person, allegedly. There is an ongoing lawsuit that just got filed recently where a customer is claiming that Olive Garden served him a severed rat's foot in his soup and he dropped a picture of it. So it does appear to be a severed rat's foot. This may have come straight from Splinter himself, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are going to be really upset about that. Obviously, the customer was also upset because he really didn't want to be biting on Stuart Little while he was eating his soup. So he filed a lawsuit. He's claimed that this was a huge health risk. It cut the inside of his mouth, and more than anything, it just became an emotionally traumatizing experience. Which, that sounds about par for the course. Nobody enjoys chewing on a rat's foot that they didn't order. So this seemed like a big old mistake here from Olive Garden, a big boo-boo. But it's not so cut and dry, actually. There's a lot of layers to this onion. There's potential that this rat's foot was planted here as a way of getting money out of a lawsuit from Olive Garden, because this kind of lawsuit has actually happened in the past in a very similar way. So Olive Garden's not going quietly into the night. They're fighting back here. They're not just going belly up, letting Hulkmania run wild on them. They're not looking to settle with some undisclosed financial amount to try and bury this or anything. They are pushing back against this lawsuit and all of the claims. And it's pretty interesting. If it turns out he did travel with his own rat's foot to plant here in order to try and scam Olive Garden, it wouldn't be the first of its kind. Something very similar actually happened to Wendy's a while ago with a severed human finger, which turned out to be part of a scam, and the culprits faced real hard consequences for it. We'll get to that story here in a minute too. I want to talk about this whole scope of food-related body parts, both human and animal. So I've been thinking about it a little bit. To serve someone a severed rat's foot would be extremely hard to do on accident, because you'd have to get a rat and then knowingly cut its foot off and then put that in the soup. Like, that wouldn't be something that would just be a whoops-a-daisy moment, didn't mean for that to happen. That would be a planned, calculated event if that were true. There have been those cases that are legitimate where like a small rodent or like a cockroach or something falls into a deep fat fryer and someone ends up getting served a fucking fried rat. There have been real cases of that. That wasn't like some kind of malicious, I'm gonna fuck this person in the face with a fried rat type event. That was a, whoop, this rat just fell in the deep fat fryer and people weren't paying enough attention to recognize it and get it out of there, so it ended up getting served to a customer. Those have been reported in the past as real. But in this case, it wasn't the whole rat. It was just his severed leg. Like, you couldn't accidentally serve a severed rat's leg unless one of the chefs brought it from home because they were making a witch's potion in the back of the Olive Garden and it called for a rat's foot as one of the ingredients. Just like practicing alchemy back there. Like, there's no way you could accidentally have a rat's foot in that kitchen because someone would have had to cut the rat's foot off and then knowingly put it in a soup. And beyond that, there are some sketchy things that the customer and his legal team are doing that don't make a whole lot of sense if this is all authentic and legitimate, if he actually did get served a rat's foot at the Olive Garden. Like, they're being very shady with how they're going about this. So I personally lean more on the side that I think this is likely, potentially, a case of a customer bringing this in order to try and get money out of a lawsuit from the restaurant. But they chose Olive Garden. And while Olive Garden doesn't have the best reputation, it doesn't have an overwhelmingly negative one either, where they're just gonna like go tits up on it and say, oh god, okay, here, just take the money and don't say anything. Like, if they had done this at a Burger King, like, Burger King served me this rat's foot, no one would have batted an eye. And Burger King would have been like, we probably did, here's your money, we don't need to investigate. But at Olive Garden, there is some level of quality control, so these claims were taken very seriously, and a real thorough investigation has taken place by them in order to confirm if this is real or a scam. You hear about the rat foot found in a man's soup at Olive Garden. Was he upset about it? That sounds like a pretty high quality menu on Olive Garden. They gave him a treat. I actually don't hate Olive Garden, to be honest with you. Madison Heights man is suing Olive Garden for allegedly serving him a severed rat's foot in a bowl of minestrone soup. Thomas Howie, 54, seeking damages of more than $25,000 for physical injury, mental anguish, and emotional distress. Let me take a peek. That could be anything. That might not even be a rat's foot. That's pretty big. That's like a whole goddamn werewolf paw. It's good luck. It's good for you. Howie said he was talking with 2 dinner companions and not really looking at the soup he ate when he felt something sharp stab his cheek. Ooh. He quickly spat the object out into his napkin. When he looked inside the napkin, he saw what appeared to be the fur-covered foot of a rat, complete with claws. Oh, God. Scrumptious. That's like something you'd find at Burger King. This would be something Burger King would serve you with a smile on their face, and this would probably be better than half their menu. Howie informed Olive Garden management, who says they did not take the matter seriously. One employee even joked about it, implying that Howie had placed the rat foot in the soup himself. This man must have brought a rat foot in here to frame us. I'm sure it's happened at some point, but I feel like it's not that common. The lack of concern displayed by Olive Garden employees led Howie to call the police. Warren police interviewed Howie, his friends, and several employees, and the police report described the object as a rat foot that appeared to have been chewed. Ooh. That's a crucial piece of evidence. Bite marks. The rat foot allegedly cut the inside of Howie's cheek, causing him to bleed and later seek medical treatment at an urgent care in Warner. He received a tetanus shot and was prescribed antibiotics. Health department visited the restaurant and determined there was no evidence of rodents in the facility. MCHD also noted that Olive Garden's pest control provider conducted a regularly scheduled service at the restaurant on March 11th, the same date as the alleged incident, and there were no pests observed in the report. We have no reason to believe there is any validity to this claim. He totally did it himself. It's possible. It is certainly possible. The photo of the foot shows no signs that it underwent a cooking process, nor does it show any signs of taking on any red color consistent with the red base of the minestrone. The foot is significantly larger than our soup spoons and would be difficult for someone to unknowingly insert in their mouth. The guest and his attorney have refused our repeated requests to provide us with the foot so we can have it forensically examined to determine what species it is. Since the incident, Howie has suffered a loss of appetite and an aversion to meat, fear of eating at restaurants, nausea, trouble sleeping, and increased depression. Well, this was all fake. This was absolutely a scam. Planted. Case closed. They won't even turn over the foot. They still have the foot and won't give it to them to forensically examine. Liar. That's case closed. That is crazy, though, if he started biting on the foot himself, though. He's like, all right, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm gonna get 50 grand out of this. I swear to God. I'll eat a rat's foot. It happened decades ago at Wendy's. The lady put a severed human thumb in her chili for a payday. What? Police identified severed finger in a Wendy's chili case. Wendy's chili finger lady comes clean. She could only keep quiet for so long, the scam drew international headlines and made millions of people think twice about ordering a cup of chili from Wendy's. Now the woman at the center of the chili finger case is talking about the infamous finger food crime. So this one is a confirmed hoax. In 2005, Anna Ayala was dining at a San Jose Wendy's restaurant when she claimed she chomped down on a partially cooked segment of a human finger. The fast food chain suffered an estimated $21 million in lost business. How do you calculate that? Do you do like an exit survey to your regulars? Like, hey guys, why aren't you ordering the chili anymore? Seems like such a hard thing to quantify. Her husband, Jamie Placencia, got the severed finger from a coworker who lost it in an industrial accident. At least it was ethically sourced. He didn't cut the finger off himself. He went to someone who had already lost it and kept it as a souvenir. I guess on like a keychain or something. Both Ayala and Placencia pleaded guilty. A was sentenced to 9 years in prison but was released after 4 years on good behavior. There's one condition to her release. She's not allowed to step foot back in the place that made her famous. A life without Wendy's? Is that even a life worth living? She'd been out of prison for about a year and living in San Jose, but until now she's kept quiet. Placencia is still serving time for his role in the scam. A is coming clean now. In an exclusive interview with CBS 5 this week, she apologized and revealed a deep secret. I cooked it. So hype. As if that was even up for debate. Obviously, Wendy's didn't fucking cook it. During the interview, she said she prepared the piece of ring finger at her Las Vegas home, then drove it to San Jose where she dropped it in the chili. A told reporters, other prisoners, and even guards ridiculed her and called her names because of the scam that landed her behind bars. I learned my lesson. I just want to move on with my life. Don't let anyone tell you a little ridicule doesn't work. I imagine the jail time also certainly helped her learn that lesson, but, you know, let's not discount the efficacy of calling her mean names. Calling her stupid.